the world is drowning in numbers that no longer make sense. $315 trillion. That is the current global debt. To put that in perspective, if you spent $1 every single second, it would take you over 10 million years to spend that amount. We've been conditioned to think of debt as a temporary hurdle, but look at the map. The United States owes over $34 trillion. Japan owes twice what its entire population can produce in a year. China, Europe, the UK, they are all in the red. Even the wealthiest nations on Earth are living on borrowed time and borrowed money. But here is the central mystery, the glitch in the matrix of our reality. If every country on Earth is in debt, then who is the creditor? Where's the giant vault that holds all this plus to our minus? If humanity as a whole is broke, who are we paying? Are we in debt to aliens? To a future that hasn't happened yet? Or have we simply forgotten what money actually is? Today, we pull back the curtain on the greatest financial illusion in history. The first layer of the answer is government bonds. When a country needs money it doesn't have, it issues a bond. It's a legal promise. Give us $100 today, and we'll give you $110 back in 10 years. Who buys these promises? On the surface, it looks like a game of musical chairs between nations. China buys US debt to keep its export machine running. Japan does the same. Europe buys both. It's a giant circular firing squad where everyone is holding someone else's IOU. But when you look closer, the math fails. If you cancel out all the debts countries owe each other, the world is still in a massive, crushing deficit. The hidden creditors are closer than you think. They are your pension funds, your insurance companies, and your local banks. Your retirement savings are likely invested in the debt of your own government. Technically, you are the creditor. But if you are the one the government owes, why does your cost of living keep rising while the debt clock only spins faster? Because between you and the money, there is a gatekeeper. Now we reach the most guarded secret in economics. Money is not dug out of a mine anymore. It is created out of thin air the moment a debt is signed. When a government needs billions, it goes to the central bank. The central bank doesn't say, "We're out of cash." It says, "We'll create it." This is the alchemy of our age. The central bank types a number into a computer and buys the government's debt. At that precise second, new money enters the world. But here is the trap. That money must be paid back with interest. But where does the money for the interest come from? The central bank didn't print it. The only way to pay the interest on the old debt is to create even more debt. It is a mathematical impossibility to ever be debt-free. In our system, money is debt. If every debt were paid off tomorrow, there wouldn't be a single dollar, euro, or yen left in circulation. The entire economy is a sandcastle built on a promise that can never be fulfilled. Who sits at the top of this pyramid? If central banks are the engine, who drives the car? We blame politicians, but they are just temporary managers of the illusion. The true creditors are the institutional giants, the shadow banks, companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. These entities manage more wealth than the GDP of the US and China combined. They own the banks, which in turn own the shares of the Federal Reserve. It is a closed loop. When a crisis hits, these creditors don't lose. They get bailed out by the government using money printed by the banks they own. The true creditor isn't a person or a country. It is a global financial infrastructure that has turned the world into a rental property. You don't own your house, the bank does. The bank doesn't own its capital.
It's leveraged to the central bank, and the central bank has leveraged our collective future for interest that cannot be paid. What is the end game? If debt can't be paid, it must be either erased through war or dissolved through inflation. Inflation is the hidden tax. It is the creditor's way of taking your real-world value while leaving you with the same paper numbers. When bread doubles in price, it didn't get more valuable, your time did.
The true creditor is time. Debt is a tool that forces humanity to run faster just to stay in the same place. We've mortgaged the lives of our children to pay for the comfort of today. But a system built on infinite growth in a finite world is destined to reset. We are standing on the edge of the Great Reset.
When the debt becomes too heavy, the rules of the game will change. But those who held the printing press will still own the reality. The only way to win is to understand that true value isn't in a digital ledger. It is in what cannot be printed: land, knowledge, and human connection. Thank you for watching this investigation. Subscribe to HistoryBit, where we find the truth behind the numbers.